Welcome everybody into Talladega. The Western States Racing League is making their return to the Super Speedway. We join the action, looks like on lap number 3 here. Mike Fisher, Kyle McCartney are on the lead. It is Mike Demoney up in the booth with me, as usual, is Mac Nelson. Mac, how's it going, man?
You know, pretty good. And, you know, some unfortunate situations occurred. You know, we had to start the broadcast just a couple of minutes late. But let me tell you, these guys were locked and they were loaded in practice and even in qualifying. It was an open qualifying for the viewers at home that might not know. They did an open qualifying session. Justin Michael ran the absolute fastest lap I have ever seen here at Talladega. He posted a 9-minute and 2-second lap in qualifying. So that granted him, you know, just godlyhood almost.
Yeah, it looks like they're kind of sorting them out, fading in and out. Kyle McCartney up 14 spots. Jeff Schmeier back here up 24. And you said Justin Michael. Like he's about halfway through the field here in that 87 machine.
Yeah. I actually have I have the info here on the qualifying order, if you would like me to run through that real quick, just to update the viewers at home. So, going down the grid very quick, 27 cars posted lap times, and in that order it went Chad Simpson on pole, Dan Brazington, Mike Fisher, Butch Davis, Kyle McCartney round out your top 5, JTW, Lyle Swearingen, Chris Samar, Dennis Fuson, Christian Bishop make up the top 10, Bob Beltrami, Ryan Steele, Wayne Hutchison, Jeff Schmeier, Benjamin Wirt, Anthony Rayner, William Fletcher, Paul Hoffman, Carl Burke, and Julian Ricci make up your top 20. And then the last 7 cars go Alan Bergen, David Wood, Dan Stussy, Dustin Burns, Brian Barnes, Charles Widner, and Justin Michael.
It looks like they're kind of moving around up front here. A lot of people trying to move to the front, and like a few trying to get towards the back to kind of stay out of the way here.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, it's Talladega, Mike. It's a war zone. It's going to be more of an obstacle course than it is a race. These guys are going to what I like to call conveyor belt through this entire race. They're going to, inch forward and forward and forward and gain position after position after position by just taking advantage of the lines that aren't necessarily pulling their own weight down these straightaways. But then guess what? As soon as you get to the front, it's going to happen to you and you're going to go all the way back. So unfortunately, that's just the fact of life around these super speedway tracks.
Yeah, definitely. Up front, it looks like we have Dan Brazington, Butch Davis, and Chad Simpson, all of the FBR teammates. And it looks like, who's that on the outside there? Up against the wall almost. Ooh. The 22.
Like the 22 of Anthony Rayner. And these guys are not afraid to push it 3 wide. I saw it on lap 2 right before we got the broadcast started. They were going 3 wide coming through the tri-oval, so these drivers not afraid to get their elbows out early. And, for Anthony Rayner being in a line of his own, he's really, holding his own.
And as they do that, it looks like they start to go maybe a little 3 wide there after they get by Rayner. Yep, Butch Davis and Lyle Swearingen, like they're separated by Ryan Steele there. That 22 truck is still staying in that high line, just kind of cruising around up here, not really losing time, but not really gaining anything either. As you see looks like the Mid-South ride of the 95 of Fred Williams kind of joining him up there a little bit.
Yeah, and Fred Williams, a guy who we usually see not even take the track in these races. He always likes to join and maybe watch a little bit, but it seems he never really takes the track, and if he does, he's out after a few laps. So good to see him getting his reps in here in the WSRL.
Yeah, definitely he's out there making some laps and staying up here about midfield, so definitely good for him. These guys are definitely at it again with over 40 drivers in the field. You have Bob Beltrami down there on the inside lane trying to get past Dennis Poussin. These guys are back in the trucks this week after driving the Xfinity cars the last couple.
Yeah, you know, driving the Xfinity cars, going back to the trucks, you know, it's honestly not the worst transition in the world, because those Xfinity cars, they do like to let that rear slip just a little bit. You know, they are a little loose coming around those corners that aren't really banked as much, and we have a big wreck coming to the tri-oval. I'm not sure who was involved there, but yeah, these drivers in these trucks, just another NASCAR machine that likes to spin those tires, and they really can get to spinning if they, you know, have too much throttle out of the corner. Luckily at Talladega, that's not going to be an issue, but as we see by this yellow flag flashing all over the track, there are going to be other troubles.
Let's see here. Doesn't look like it's up front here. Oh, it is. Ryan Steele. Ryan Steele gets turned. Let's jump to... Let me find Ryan Steele here. Here's Ryan Steele. We can get a better view here. So they're 3 wide. Ryan Steele in the middle. And it looks like the 30 of Paul Hoffman's up there. Everybody's pretty good so far. You have the FBR teammate there down on the inside, and looks like just barely touched, almost a little of that net code sucked him right in. It looked like it was probably not much of anything. A little close side drafting, and they just got stuck together.
Yeah, you know, you're exactly right there, and you know, super unfortunate. You know, you really don't want to see that this early into a Talladega race. I mean, they're at lap 11 of 75. They've got a long way to go, so if you get some damage to that truck, it's really going to hurt your chances if you do not take a fast repair.
Yeah, and it's also Talladega, so some of these guys might not elect to take the fast repair. Stay on pit road as long as they can, get out in front of the pace car, kind of heal it up enough to maybe make the draft. Okay, I'm confused. We're sitting here watching Fred Williams, and if what I'm seeing is correct, he just went down pit lane and didn't stop.
Yeah, you know, and I don't think he was issued a drive-through penalty, but there's a chance he could have. That's the only reason I see him doing that, because, I mean, you know, opting to not take tires 11 laps in, you know, that's fine. That's not necessarily a bad choice or anything.
No, it's Talladega.
It's just the fact that he pulled off. He didn't just stay out. So he had to have had a drive-through penalty of some sort. I'm not really sure, but I'm assuming that's going to be the case.
I don't know what the deal is, but it looks like everybody's passing him, so...
Yeah, and typically this might be because in oval racing, you're not allowed to take your drive-through penalty during a caution. I'm not sure if Fred Williams knows that. I know when I joined the service a couple of years ago, my first few drive-through penalties, I didn't know that either. I had to be taught the hard way. But maybe, just maybe, that is what he is experiencing right now. Maybe he doesn't realize that he has to be on a green flag lap to take his drive-through penalty. Because, yeah, I'm not entirely sure the strategy here, as it looks like he might be pulling down to do it again.
Yeah, maybe he's coming down pit road. Maybe he just didn't want to get in the mix, so he's going to pit here on a closed pit, wind up getting that penalty, and come back, you know, at the back of the field. It looks like quite a few guys are electing to stop later in this run here.
Yeah,
I guess.
There's a lot of people stopping. Ross Rawlings taking his second pit stop. I believe that is... Oh, Chad Stearns is taking his second pit stop, I believe. These timings are shuffling, man.
Well, that's that's part of the deal here when you have 41 cars in the race. It shakes it up a little bit, but look at basically everybody except for the 19. Like FBR, outside row 1, row 2 is all FBR, and then you got Dan Brazington on the inside of, looks like Mike Fisher, or no, Dan Brazington and Chad Simpson should be in the same row. There they go. So 13 laps in, and they've already been 3 wide several times here. We'll see how this next restart goes. Justin T. Wilkinson has control of the field once again. We complete this 13th lap.
Yeah, and currently sitting 17th in the point standing. So a result here, a big result, you know, a win or maybe a podium or, you know, at least a top 5 would be huge for him here. He's only gotten 1 top 10 so far this season. He does have 2 bonus points, though. The only person I see above him in that field is Wade Hustad and Justin Michael. So he is doing his thing every single race, as he is going to be crossing the Geico restart zone. He has the button, but he has been, you know, phenomenal in almost every single race we've had this season so far. This is round 5 of 20, but he's going to have to put some top 5s, maybe a win or 2 in there to really be in contention of the season 49 WSRL title.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen him race up front and, you know, lead quite a few laps here as they're pretty much single file. That whole line slid up to the outside, and Wilkinson's just not surrendering that outside lane right now to Lyle Swearingen. Lyle Swearingen is all over that back bumper. Mike Fisher goes down to the inside with Kyle McCartney. They're going to see if they can make a run down here.
Yeah, and if a couple of mid-pack guys could communicate and coordinate a push here, they could really get some spots here. There is just nothing going on in that bottom line. They're all sticking it up top, as you said. There's a lot of real estate down there that is begging to be taken, as we see the 43 of Mike Fisher and the 18 of Kyle McCartney. They are trying their best, but 2 cars is not going to get it done.
Yeah, I thought maybe Bob Beltrami was going to stay down there with Dennis Fuson and try and work their way up, but they've split off behind them as well. Got Bob Beltrami leading an outside lane with Christian Bishop, and then you have Mike Fisher, Kyle McCartney, Dennis Fuson down on that inside lane. And 37 of Jess Schmeier in that outside lane as well a little bit. Here's Bob Beltrami. Looks like he gets a little loose, trying to slide down in front of Fuson, and he does. That leaves Christian Bishop high and dry on that high line all by himself.
Yeah, high and dry is an absolute understatement here, as he is sitting in what position? He is down to P12. And fortunately, we've got some guys coming up to maybe try and help, but now Kyle McCartney is kind of stuck out in miniature no man's land, but he is going to be fine. He is definitely close enough to pick up the tow of that truck in front of him. But yeah, we see it a lot at these super speedway tracks with these WSRL guys. They like to stay in a single file line for most of these super speedway races.
Yeah, it's Talladega. You talk to some of the league managers, and they're always torn between having, you know, like a 50-lap Talladega race and, you know, like here, a 75 or 80-lap Talladega race, because in all reality, the first part of the race doesn't really matter. It's those last, you know, 15 laps is where most of the action and drama is going to unfold, and that's what's going to happen here. These guys are kind of going to ride around, try and log some laps, get closer to the middle, to the end of the race before they start making their moves and really try and do something here, because if you push it too fast too early, you could wind up wrecked out, and you only have one fast repair here.
Yeah, you only have one fast repair, and For these guys that might be sitting a little lower in the point standings than they'd like, a super speedway is a really nice place to really elevate yourself and get those points up where you really want them to be. We see it all the time in real life racing, these super speedway tracks. It seems that underdogs are always in the front towards the end. Now, if they win is a different story, but, we always see the guys that you don't really expect to be up there. They always seem to get up there. So, luckily for the guys like maybe Charles Widner or JTW or Paul Crumray or maybe even Benjamin Wirt, it would be really nice for these guys to get a really strong finish here.
Yeah, it definitely is. Kyle McCartney and Mike Fisher still trying to work that outside line. They got more help now with Bob Beltrami, Dennis Fuson, Christian Bishop all working with them there. But those FBR trucks on that inside lane have raced together a lot, and they know everybody's strengths and weaknesses down there, so they're going to be tough to pass down there on that bottom lane.
Yeah, the bottom lane is really where you would like to be here, Mike. And I don't know about you, but I'm kind of in the minority of things. When I am in a super speedway race, when I'm on the sim, I like to be on the outside lane in these super speedway races. What about you?
Yeah, I definitely feel a lot more comfortable. Whether or not I go forward or backwards doesn't really matter, but I think I have more ability to avoid something if something does happen to break loose.
Yeah, exactly. You just feel like you have a little more freedom on that high line. Now, with that being said, you do see that bottom line is a lot more straight and narrow than the top line. These top line guys, they're aggressive. They're looking to make a move, so they're not exactly, following in line like a good soldier. They are looking out for themselves.
Yeah, that's always the problem at all these super speedway races. It all depends on who you're driving with and how straight they can hold the wheel. Because one little shift of the wheel and it basically has that accordion effect as it goes down through, or snake effect as it goes down through that line, as you can see, even in the bottom line, but more exaggerated in the top line there.
They seem to be all right now. Top lane and bottom lane haven't really gotten close over the past few laps that I've seen. And yeah, look at that. I mean, you can't even see anything. They are right on each other's bumper.
Okay, Lyle Swearingen was all over that back bumper of JTW there. You can see if he hits him just wrong, how fast that can just turn on you too.
Yeah, but Lyle Swearingen is a very talented driver, as is JTW. These guys have been in probably hundreds of super speedway races over the years. They've been bump draft every single which way, so I'm pretty sure they're gonna be okay. Hope so, anyway.
Oh, definitely. When you have the talent that they have and the ability to showcase it like Western States does here, it is just amazing how fast and how clean they can run some of these races. I mean, we're talking 75 laps at Talladega, and we're already through 21, and we've had 2 and 3 wide action for 90% of what we've watched.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And, we say it every week, and we're like a broken record, but these drivers are, the epitome of great racing here, great amateur racing here on the iRacing service. These guys aren't professionals yet, and I say yet because I firmly believe that half of this field could go compete in the Coke Series, as Kyle McCartney almost gave me the commentator's curse right there, as I thought he might have spun the 43 of Mike Fisher around there. But no, these drivers are great, man.
Yeah, you can see how much of a run they start to get, like Lyle Swearingen there. Gets a little bit of run, pulls down to kind of cool down his truck, it seemed like there. And then he's right back to that rear bumper and drafting away again.
Yeah, drafting away indeed. And, these trucks, I should say, the side draft is going to be a big part of these lines sticking together and maybe advancing past one another. But as we see right now, we're 22 laps in, and apart from that big run that Kyle McCartney just gave Mike Fisher, these guys have been pretty neck and neck.
Yeah, and it seems like once the high line starts to get there, they either make a little bit of a mistake or that inside line gets hooked back up and just starts to slowly pull away again. We did see the inside lane bobble a little bit a couple laps ago, which kind of gave Mike Fisher the lead for a moment there, but once Lyle Swearingen got fixed on that rear bumper of JTW there, it's all over.
Yeah, I mean, all over indeed, as Lyle Swearingen looks to dip down into the apron just a tad bit, like you said, cooling off the truck, kind of stopping his run, making sure that he's not pushing JTW too hard, but that is going to be another lap led for JTW in that 19 Ford. And if you look up and down the grid, not very many Fords here tonight. We see it a lot in the Western States Racing League. Not a lot of drivers opt to take the Ford manufacturer. We have JTW, who is currently P1 in a Ford. Then you go all the way down to P13. That is David Wood in a 27 Ford machine. P17 is Brian Barnes. And then after that, you have William Fletcher, who unfortunately I think is out of the race, has only completed 9 laps here. And I do not believe he is on track anymore, so yes, 3 Fords on the grid right now.
And as you were talking about that, Mike Fisher gave up the lead to Kyle McCartney, trying to swap and see if maybe McCartney's a little bit faster, as he took the position back behind Bob Beltrami. So he went from first in that outside line to third in the outside line, but still trying to make that draft work as they all kind of stick their nose out to cool those truck down just a little bit.
Yeah, and, as we're coming up on, a third of the way through this race already, I just kind of wanted to go down the championship standings here. So we're currently in round 5. We have completed 4 of the 20 races. We are doing the 5th right now. Andrew Schulte, who is currently leading the championship by 3 points, is currently sitting in the pit lane as he has come in 4 tires. There's a big group there who have done it on this lap. Dustin Burns, Alan Bergen, Charlie Widner, Justin Michael, Chad Stearns, Michael Milfeld Jr., Andrew Schulte, Barry Phil, Spencer Hanneman, Keith Kelman. I might have missed a few there, but that is the group that has come in on lap 26. And if you go to P2 in the championship standings, that is Chris Samard. He is 3 points down from Andrew Schulte. He is currently sitting P4, has not opted to pit in yet, but if I'm not mistaken, I think I see his car coming down right now. Yes, I certainly do.
Yep, looks like everybody in that inside lane decided to come down, and maybe even that outside lane is Bob Beltrami, Kyle McCartney. So it must be about the fuel run there.
Yeah, about the fuel run indeed, and a few lockups there entering pit, but no harm, no foul. We stay racing here. And, Jeff Schmeier, who is currently leading the race, is P4 in the championship standings right now. He is 29 points back, I believe. No, I'm sorry. He is 32 points back from the lead from Andrew Schulte. So if he can keep this run up, if he can stay out in front and maybe even win this Talladega race, that would be huge for his championship case.
Yeah. The way it's looking, though, if Justin Michael stays on the pair that he's been on, I mean, he's raced here 3 times. This is his 4th race. He's won 2 of them. So it's going to be, he's won 2 of them, and he's got the pole in 3 of them. So, except for this one here,
Yeah, I'm not sure what convinced him to run a 9-minute qualifying lap, but hey, more power to him. But yeah, he sits P6 in the championship standings without one race. He's only completed 3 races here. And yeah, as you said, he has won 2 of them, gotten top 10 in all 3 of them. So maybe the hottest driver out right now when it comes to, positioning. Because if he would have had a 4th race under his belt, he would no doubt be in the championship lead.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everything's going to shake up once they get towards the end of the season, because you do have several drop weeks. I believe they have 4 in this league, so it'll all change once you get there. But you still want to go out and do your best on every race that you can. I mean, it is a super speedway, so you never know what will happen. But whoa.
That was the 3 of Butch Davis. Brings out the yellow flag here on lap 28. We are 29 because they did just go past the start finish, but it came out on lap 28. And unfortunately, JTW with just a little bit too strong of a push onto Butch Davis there. That is not something you want to see. That is really unfortunate for the 3 car of Butch Davis.
All right, here, see if we can take a look here. Yeah, just gets a little off center there, kind of slides him down the racetrack. Loses that front panel there. Slides sideways through pit road. And it looks like, he's able to keep it off of.
Oh,
I was gonna say, it looks like he's gonna keep
that.
it.
I don't know.
Maybe not. He's still sliding up the racetrack. He had it all locked down, but
yeah, that is definitely what caused the yellow flag there. If he could have kept it off of the racetrack and maybe, gone into pit lane or something, we probably would have stayed green. But in all honesty, Mike, in Butch's case, the yellow flag is probably the best option.
Yeah, definitely. As everybody's coming down pit lane one more time.
Yeah, now with us being currently on lap 30 of 75, are we talking about, should we be having the conversation about drivers going the distance now?
Looks like everybody came between 24 and 25 after 11. Well, maybe, but I don't know. I think we're probably going to have to make one more pit stop, but I guess we really don't know how much fuel they really have because they've came down both times we've had cautions.
Yeah, I was trying to do some math in my head, but then I realized it doesn't matter because I don't know what fuel load they run at. So
I believe I want to say it's 100. Let me do some quick checking here. I have their thing up here. Oh no, fuel capacity at the super speedway is 45%.
Wow. So yeah, I am almost positive they are going to have to stop again. Granted, though, I believe it's going to be extremely late in the race when they do stop. I think they're going to have to stop around lap 66 or 67.
Yeah, I'd say they probably have about 12 laps of fuel, is what it looks like. Maybe? As everybody's coming back down pit lane from the front of the field here, look like.
Yeah, it seems like we have had, I believe, 2 cautions, right? Is this our second caution?
Yeah, we had the first one at lap, like...
11, 12?
Yeah, 10 or 11, something like that.
This is the first time that I have seen almost every single driver on the grid take more pit stops than there have been cautions on a super speedway race. This is kind of wild. We're 31 laps into the race, and there have been a multitude of drivers to take 3 pit stops.
Yeah,
off 2 cautions.
Yeah, they pitted on lap like 11, then they pitted on, I want to say 24 or 25, and then pitted on this caution. So crazy. So yeah, we probably do have, you know, 12 or 13 laps of fuel, depending on how fast they run here or how many cautions they get. But if everybody keeps coming down for cautions and gets fuel, his tires aren't near as important as fuel here as the super speedways.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. These tires, granted, they do make a difference when you're driving fresh tires against completely worn tires, but that is really the only place you really see it make a difference in. You know, slightly worn tires against fresh tires, you really aren't going to notice anything because of how aerodynamic these super speedway tracks are and how much the draft actually carries you down the road.
Yeah, definitely. Pace car is coming in. Like Bob Beltrami will lead them to the green flag here. Like he started pretty early there before the restart zone, but still green,
yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm not really sure there. You're exactly right, though. It did look like that he actually got his start before the Geico restart zone, so up in the air on if he's actually going to get penalized for that. But in the event that he doesn't, here we are. The Beltrami Salami machine is leading the race, looking to get that bonus point for leading a lap.
Yeah, but look behind Bob Beltrami. You got Brian Barnes up 26, Jeff Schmeier up 34, Kyle McCartney 14, Anthony Rayner 17, Paul Hoffman 21, Alan Bergen up 24, Julian Ricci in 9th is up 31. So, I mean, everybody up here elected to do a little pit strategy and take the track position here.
Yeah, space takers is what we call it in the FPS world, but you know, they are track takers here. They are going to take every inch of track that they are allowed to take, and you know, hopefully their strategy nets them a good result. As we saw Bob Beltrami here a couple of weeks ago, I believe it was at Charlotte. He was really showing us something through the first 80 or 85% of the race. Unfortunately, he dropped down into what I believe was 8th or 9th or maybe even 10th, but for a very long time there, he was running top 5 and looking to make some noise here at Talladega again.
Yeah, definitely. As this first group is kind of single filed, saw it start that way before, and then everybody kind of picked what lane they wanted to be in. As you see Mike Fisher go to the outside with Dennis Poussin out there. We'll see how that works as the 30 and 43 about touch doors there.
Yeah, and Dennis Poussin is someone who I classify in this league as Mr. Unlucky because, we have a big slowdown here between the 97 and the 91. That is Jeff Hollingsworth and Ross Rawlings. Not sure what happened there, but they dropped exponentially in the standings there. That was strange, but back to Dennis Poussin. I like to classify him as Mr. Unlucky in this league because it seems he is always running a really strong race, but every single caution he finds himself collected in, and that is just not the luck you want to have, especially in a competitive league such as the Western States Racing League.
Yeah, definitely not. As Mike Fisher and Dennis Poussin are trying to work that outside line again. they seem to work pretty well together earlier. Dennis Poussin, Kyle McCartney, and then you also had Beltrami up there for a little bit in that high line, but now Charles Beltrami's down on the low line with Brian Barnes and the 37 of Josh Schmeier. Got Justin Michael in 14th. Looks like Andrew Schulte was kind of making a move there, but he fell back a little ways. And now these FBR teammates are working that high line once again, going 3 wide. Dan Brazington, third in that row there. Lyle Swearingen is leading that high line. Gonna throw a blanket over almost the whole field here.
Yeah, and you know, you talked about Dan Brazington a second ago. Unfortunately, not the greatest season for him so far.
Ooh. Justin Michael got sent. Whoa, I don't know how that wasn't a caution. Let's stop that there. Jump on the chopper here. See a check up there. Sends that the 91 into the 87. 87 and 91 clip again. The 91 of Ross Rollins slides back up the track a little ways. Michael Melfeld Jr. looks like he's going to try and get by. Everybody kind of checking up there. And let's see here if we got Justin Michael again. We'll see how he's sliding up, catches it right before that yellow line, able to get it back under him. And after all of that, because nobody was stopped on track, we're still green.
We are still green. I'm not entirely sure if I agree with it, so to say, but hey, I'm not race control. I am just a broadcaster. So these guys are going to stay green. Unfortunately, for pretty much everybody from Justin Michael and back, it's going to put a big hurting on their pace as they are pretty far back from the lead pack now.
Yeah, they're about 3 seconds back. Let's go back up to the front here. And you see that everybody kind of working around, and those FBR teammates on the high side are just basically pushing their way back to the front. That low line's kind of bouncing around there. Mike Fisher is trying to get that side draft off that high line to get any sort of a run with those guys. And that is also bringing, looks like Jeff Hollinsworth up here and Ryan Steele as well. That 30 machine is forcing it all over the place there, almost making it 4 wide there for a minute.
Yeah, indeed so. And oh, that's going to be a big one. That was the 30 of Paul Hoffman, I think, that originally got spun. That is going to bring out the caution 100%.
Yep, that definitely is. I saw that he was kind of bouncing around there, and yeah, so we'll go back and take a look here. So here's the 30. See if we can go let it play a little bit. And there he slides up again, loses a little bit of control. Oh, the 15 comes down and clips him. I thought the 30 slid up again. But that took out almost everybody in that FBR camp there, as the 77 of Chris Simard gets through crazy.
Yeah, somehow gets through, and that is going to be huge for his finishing result here tonight, as we still got a lot of racing left, but we're starting to dwindle down to these laps where you can't be involved in these shenanigans. The time is slowly getting to the point where you've got to kind of take things seriously from here on out. But good on Chris Samard for being quick on the wheel to, avoid that mess.
Yeah, you can see here, sliding back and forth, slides back down, catches him. And as we do that, let's see if we can jump on. Oh, where'd he go? With everybody pitting here. There we go. Lyle Swearingen. So he's just minding his own business and winds up almost upside down.
Yeah, almost riding the catch fence as a piece of asphalt. And yeah, that is really unfortunate for Lyle Swearingen. Not exactly where you want to be in a situation like that, but not much that can be done there.
Yeah, definitely not. So we're over halfway through the race. We've seen a little bit of everything. Seen some guys take a little bit of pit strategy here and wind up towards the front. One guy that's kind of shocked me right at the moment, unless we missed it, it's going to be the 04 here of Dustin Burns. It's saying he's made 3 pit stops. Last pit on lap 29. So we'll see how long he's able to hold on here, or if he's going to come down this time. Maybe. Nope.
And it looks like he's got a bit of damage to that left front tire. I don't think he's going to have much pace at all. You see that left front tire is kind of caved in. It is off camber for sure. And yeah, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to hold up, especially with these guys behind him that are fresh.
Everybody's moving. Probably the top 16 have moved multiple positions except for, or multiple positive positions except for Jeff Hollinsworth. He's down 4, but everybody else has moved at least 5 positive.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think our timings are reading different things, because for me it says Jeff Hollingsworth is up 22 positions.
Oh.
I'm not sure who's exactly right here, but
it's probably yours, because I had my softball that took a little longer than it should have, and I showed up late, so.
Hey, but hey.
That's probably what it's doing. Probably
Yeah,
going from when I showed up.
Yeah, that's actually super fair. You probably just deduced the mystery right there. Like an episode of Scooby-Doo. I would have gotten to the race on time if it wasn't for you meddling kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Luckily, here in the sim racing world, especially on the asphalt oval side, the age range is a little bit up there. So all these drivers probably know what I'm talking about. I'm probably the youngest guy here, to be completely honest with you. So, and even I know the classic Scooby-Doo cartoon. Oh, man. What an iconic show.
Let's see what Beltrami does again. Looks like he's going early before they get to that restart zone.
Yeah, and you know, I heard I'm tapped into the communications a little bit with these guys. Not very loud, but all I heard was Bob Beltrami say, "I'm wide open," as he is going for it. And yeah, you see the 04 of Dustin Burns there. He has just got nothing for these guys. I think it might be the damage to his left front tire.
Yeah, it'd have to be. And then he gets stuck out to dry because nobody wants to work with him after that slow little run there.
Yeah, unfortunately, I just don't think he has maximum engine power either, so...
We got a whole gang of Toyotas back here. 11th through 15th right now.
Yeah, 11th through 15th is all Toyota, but you go up a little bit. P5 to P10 is a Chevrolet group. You've got Dennis Fuson, Ryan Steele, Jeff Hollingsworth, Christian Bishop, Austin Williams, and Carl Burke, all rocking that bow tie Silverado. And they are making it work extremely well. Brian Barnes, however, in P2 with the Ford, he is the lone Ford in the top 30. You know, P31 we've got JTW, and then P35 we've got David Wood. So yeah, Fords just do not get any love here in the WSRL.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how that all changes once they go to that Xfinity car, to see who actually switches and races a different manufacturer. I know when I first got on the sim and was able to get the Xfinity, everybody said to get the Toyota because it just seemed to drive a lot better. So that's what I did, even though, you know, I was a Chevy guy.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a Supra, man. The Xfinity cars, it's a Supra. Who doesn't want to drive a Supra around a racetrack?
They're pretty much single file, looks like, through most of the field. Mike Fisher's kind of stuck up high. He's got Spencer Hanneman coming to the outside. Spencer usually races on Wednesday and Thursday nights in the Racers Elite Xfinity and Next Gen Series.
Yeah, and, you know, good driver all the way around the board, you know, as all these drivers are, man. And, you know, I hate to say it again, but, yeah, these guys are, you know, really talented drivers. And it just makes the championship run here so much more difficult because everybody, and I mean everybody, can contend for a win at any point. And so every single race is so important for your championship standings and your title hopes.
And there's the pit call for the 04 after he faded back through the field and make his pit stop. Kyle McCartney up to the high side, going to try and work with Mike Fisher once again.
Yeah, Kyle McCartney, if I'm not mistaken, last time we were at a super speedway, he was making a lot of noise up there in the front, and if I am remembering correctly, I think a late race caution pushed him all the way to the back. I'm not entirely sure if that is totally correct, but he seems to be very strong here at these plate tracks.
Yeah, it definitely looks like he's on his way there. Glad to see that he is going up here. I mean, I was just looking back through the number of drivers they've had at their first 4 races. Kentucky was 40, Dover 39, Charlotte was their lowest with 36, Indianapolis last week had 39, and then tonight it looks like we've got 41.
Yeah, and unique drivers in this series through 4 races. I apologize. 55 unique drivers So not only do they have a full grid every single week nearly here in the WSRL, they've got drivers who can't get in every single week because there are 55 people trying to get in for a spot.
Like the 07 is working that high line all by himself, 3 wide up there.
Yeah, Keith Kelman, you know, unfortunately just one of those guys who seems like the stars can never really align for him, as that was a moment there with the 27. Not entirely sure who's in that 27. Oh, I think I'm getting wrong number readings, actually. So I apologize for that. It is a 27 on my screen, but...
27 is David Wood.
Oh, so he's... Okay, I was looking in the wrong place for the timings.
A lap down.
Yeah, I was looking in the wrong place there, but unfortunately had a moment there with David Wood. But no harm, no foul. They keep on going.
Still battling back. Timing and scoring goes crazy every time they switch around here, as Kyle McCartney is going to try and get a lap led here. Mike Fisher giving him a push. Christian Bishop up there as well. Down on the inside, you've got Bob Beltrami, Brian Barnes, and Jeff Schmeier. If I'm not mistaken, you can see some of these guys and how much time they've put in to this league. Let's see here if I can find it here. I think Brian Barnes has started over like 500 races in the WSRL.
Yes, I do believe that is correct. If I'm not mistaken, I think the championship finale of season 48 was his 500th appearance.
Yeah, looks like that is... These guys have been around for a long time. I mean, you're sitting here talking about season 49.
Yeah, I mean, to go 49 seasons is one thing, you know, one thing for sure. It's an amazing feat. But for a driver to have over 500 appearances in said league over the years, that is also wild, because they run 20 races a season here. Now, granted, before season 48, I have no clue the formats they were running, and I'm sure if they double up on series, they also get a separate appearance for each one. But 500 starts regardless in the same league is nuts.
Yeah, 508 starts in the Tuesday series for Brian Barnes. Bob Beltrami has 504. Dennis Fuson and Rob Gall each have 421, according to Sim Racer Hub.
Ooh. So these guys are series legends. They are WSRL royalty.
If you count both their Tuesday and Friday night leagues, Bob Beltrami has 1,103 starts.
Oh my goodness. That is a lot of racing.
These guys definitely love to show out every Tuesday and Friday night. Like we're going to start seeing those pit stops happen here. The 40, 13, so 13 laps, 14 laps is what it looks like for a fuel run, so. But it should be coming down momentarily here. 18 slides down in front of Bob Beltrami, so Kyle McCartney going to try and lead this race here as he's coming up on some lap traffic. They will go high.
Yeah, and the lap traffic is where things starts to get a little difficult when you're racing at these super speedways. The lap traffic, unfortunately, just not able to produce the same amount of speed as a full lead pack of cars. So if they aren't, on their toes and, maybe communicating efficiently, there can be some real trouble that brews.
Yeah, definitely could be. Because these guys are still basically single file. Mike Fisher still hanging out on that outside lane. But we're starting to hear everybody call for their pit stops here. As you can see them kind of single file out here.
Yeah, we've already got a couple of guys that went in: Lyle Swearingen, Dan Brasington, Chris Samora, Chad Simpson, JTW, Spencer Hanneman, and Butch Davis went into the pits. I believe that is it for lead lap drivers. Alan Bergen is of those people. And so, yeah, now we've got a whole slew of drivers with Jeff Hollingsworth taking over the lead.
Jeff Hollingsworth, Austin Williams, Paul Krumrei, and Charles Woods all staying out. Jeff Hollingsworth coming in this time by. Looks like the 15 will follow him there as well, and I'm assuming the 88 should as well.
Yeah, I can't see these drivers staying out for more than this lap. If they do, they've got a strategy that I don't know about, that my brain can't elevate to achieve that level of knowledge. But no, it seems like they are going to come in, and, that may be the last pit cycle we see. We might have to see one more.
That's what I was kind of seeing here. As they were making their pit stops, doing simple math here. Looks like everybody was last in on lap 40, and this is lap 56. So 16 laps. It's gonna be close. Somebody's gonna have to probably either save some fuel or come in for a splash and go pretty quickly.
Yeah, splash and go might be the plan here. Or, drivers can lift off that throttle a little bit going down these straights and save a little bit of fuel. But you can't lift off it too hard, because you will lose all of your momentum and you will get swallowed up at these super speedways.
Yeah, you just kind of want to hang around. I mean, you can slow down just a little bit, especially if you're in the middle of the pack. You don't need to be quite full throttle, so you'll wind up saving some fuel there. So we'll see if anybody's able to save enough to make it to the end, because these guys leading right now pitted on lap 55. So if you go 15 laps, that's gonna be a close one. And they have to basically save, 5 laps of fuel, which it's possible at a super speedway, especially if you start doing it, early.
Yeah, the earlier you get to it, the better it's going to be for sure. And, as we see the leaders past the 3 of Butch Davis, unfortunate night for him we saw earlier. But yeah, when it comes to strategy, if you do plan on saving fuel, the earlier the better, and these guys might have to start now if they plan on making it.
It'll be interesting to see who can kind of save some if they're, middle to the end of this lead pack here. And one guy we haven't really talked about too much is Andrew Schulte. He's working up inside the top 10 now.
Yeah, he was really, really passive for almost all of this race, sitting back in like the P20 to P25 range. But, you know, he has got a streak to uphold here. You know, I mention it every week because I personally think it's just the absolute, you know, epitome of consistency, as he has what I believe to be 13 starts. It might be 12. But either way, he is at 12 or 13 starts in the WSRL as of season 48. He came in latter half of the season, and he has gotten a top 5 in every single race that he has done here. Across seasons, you know, to end season 48 and to start season 49, he has gotten a top 5 in every single race, and that is what puts him at the top. He is currently the championship leader here in the WSRL. So that goes to show that you don't have to win to be on top, because Justin Michael, although he did have a drop week already, he has won 2 races and he is not P1 in the championship standings. So for Andrew Schulte, this race is huge, and to be honest, he's working it to perfection. We're coming down to 15 to go. He is in P11 right now, basically flirting with the top 10 here. And when these laps start to trickle down, he is going to make his move.
Yeah, definitely. You look at his average start over those 13 races has been 11th. His average finish, 2.77.
Whew.
He's been inside the top 5, like you said, every time. He has 2 wins. So he is definitely one of the good ones here in WSRL. Guy we haven't seen too much, Bentley Glazer, who won multiple championships. He, in his 106 starts, is top 5 78% of the time. So if Andrew Schulte can keep this up, there's no telling what he can do once he is able to commit to this league full time like he's able to do this year.
Yeah, and, you know, imagine the scenes here in 3 to 4 seasons. What if Andrew Schulte has not finished out of the top 5 in a year from now, 2 years from now? What a crazy story that would be. There's already so much lore and so much backstory and so much history with the WSRL, and that would just be another etch in the history books for this league. So, you know, Andrew Schulte, although only being 13 races in, he is on the fast track to building a legacy here in the Western States Racing League.
Yeah, Kyle McCartney leading the race. Has been around for quite a while. Has 198 starts on Tuesday nights. These guys are just putting down tons of laps and getting tons of experience. And we were talking about, you know, they could be a championship contender in almost any other league they go to. Brian Barnes, I believe he won, I don't know if it was last year, it might have been the year before, but he won the Northwest Racing League's championship up there where they have tons of drivers.
Ooh, as the 43 there of Mike Fisher almost getting a weird shove onto the 12 of Ryan Steele, but luckily nothing has happened as the 18 of Kyle McCartney kind of gets spooked. He shifts up a little bit into that middle lane, but for the most part, these guys are flawlessly executing the 3 wide. Oh, but here comes a back marker.
Apron, get out of the way. Just hear everybody on the radio saying, get out of the way, and he does not. Brings that track up. Luckily, that outside lane was going slower and is able to check up just enough to allow everybody to get through. They're 4 wide. They're in the middle. Christian Bishop, Mike Fisher, and Lyle Swearingen in that high line. Swearingen saying, no, not again there.
Yeah, these guys are very,
and
very
here comes people
quick
for pit stops.
Yeah, Charlie Widner, Andrew Schulte, Justin Michael, Michael Milfelt Jr. of the 4 to pit in. So assuming everybody pits, they should be out in front here within about 3 laps time. But back on track, we have Bob Beltrami leading them down turn 1 and 2 as we're going to the backstretch. They are 3 wide.
Yeah, there are 3 wide, and you got the FBR teammates on the high line. Lyle Swearingen, Dan Brazelton, Chris Sumar, Chad Simpson, all making that high line work. You even have JTW back there. Ooh, as FBR teammates get together a little bit there. Not something they wanted to see. We'll have to see how this is all going to shake out once these guys start to make their final pit stops, because we were thinking they're going to be about 5 laps short on fuel. And we already had 4 guys elect to come in, short pit, try and take some track position away once the other guys have to come down. So we'll see what happens here momentarily.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering, was that the right call for these guys, as Andrew Schulte is currently P29, Michael Milfeld Jr. P28, and yeah, we have another group of 5 coming in right now. I believe that is the only people to come in. It is Lyle Swearingen, Chad Simpson, JTW, Chris Simard, and Dan Brazington. They are coming in all for their 7th pit stop of the race. A lot of pitting done here tonight at this Talladega race.
Yeah, when they shorten up that fuel run, that definitely leads to more action on track and different strategies being called here. As I said, it looks like if anybody in this front group might be able to save some fuel, see what happens. But if they were able to, a couple of the guys, they're able to stay hooked together, they might have a chance at pulling it to the end. But it's going to be tough because they're going to have to go a little bit farther than they had before.
Yeah, a little bit further is an understatement. 5 laps, I believe, is what you said earlier, is that they're going to have to stretch their run out by to be able to get to the end. And on a super speedway track like this, 5 laps is a lot of fuel that must be saved.
Yeah, I mean, the way they're running out here, I don't think anybody's doing that. So we'll see what the right strategy was. If Justin Michael and Andrew Schulte pitted a little bit too early, or if the FBR teammates pitted there, as everybody now, I say everybody, half of this lead group heads down to pit lane. You have Ryan Steele, the man that can save fuel like nobody's business here, leading this pack.
Yeah, Bob Beltrami, Jeff Schmeier, Christian Bishop, and Brian Barnes were the 4 to stop right there. A group further back, Julian Ritchie, Dennis Fuson, Carl Burke, Angelo Espo, Spencer Hanneman. I think that is it. Benjamin Ward, if I didn't already list him. They have stopped. And this is just propelling that original group of Charlie Widner, Justin Michael, Michael Milfeld Jr., and Andrew Schulte. They are slowly climbing back up the standings.
Now we'll see what happens here as everybody now hits pit lane. Like I said, everybody had to pit, so we'll see what happens. It looks like this next group is headed in as well. Wayne Hutchinson, Austin Smith, Jeff Hollingsworth, and Charles Woods. And guess what that leaves?
The original 4 who pitted on lap 64 bars. They decided to come in early, and that has netted them an absolutely great position. As these guys are coming across the start finish, there's some smoke going up it seems as if there was some difficulties for someone getting off pit road or maybe entering pit road. That was a bit of a situation there.
Yeah.
But yes, the top four, Charlie Whitner, Justin Michael, Michael Milfeld Jr., and Andrew Schulte, they are now in control.
Looking through to see if anything caught that. It doesn't look like it really did. It looks like maybe it was Fred Williams, but I'm not seeing what exactly happened. Let's see if we can look real quick. A real quick gander here. Oh, yep.
Ooh.
So gassing it up coming out of the pits. And just loses it. Luckily, looks like he was able to back down the track, jump to pits before getting involved in anybody else's incident there. So good for him. And as we come back live, we got 5 laps to go. Charlie Widener, Justin Michael, Michael Melfeld Jr., and Andrew Schulte have a over a 1.5 second lead over Chad Simpson, Lyle Swearengin, JTW, Kyle McCartney, Bob Beltrami. So we'll see if these 4 trucks are able to work together and settle this race amongst themselves here.
Yeah, but let me tell you, these guys behind the Chad Simpson, Lyle Swearengin, JTW, Kyle McCartney, Bob Beltrami, Christian Bishop, and Brian Barnes pack, that is a lot more cars than this front 4 has. So naturally, they're going to be able to generate more power coming down these straights. And that lead is slowly dwindling for this lead group.
Yeah, it definitely is. 4 laps to go. And it's under a second now, as you can see them. As the lap cars are trying to figure out what way to go there. And here they come. But the lap cars, looks like they might have kind of made them fish out a little bit there, but they're still moving, and they're moving pretty quickly. We'll see if maybe this lead group kind of fans out a little bit to try and slow them down, and they do not.
Here they come. We have got 2 packs merging into one, and this 4-car race has turned into a 10-car race with back markers ahead.
And they need to get out of the way and let these guys settle it here on track. Inside is Chad Simpson. Outside is Charlie Widener. These guys are not going away. They're hanging right with them side by side. 3 laps to go, soon to be 2 laps. Guys are all over the track, kind of bumping around. We'll see what happens as they go to finish this second to last lap.
And what a day from Charlie Whitner, currently P4, but he is P17 in a 3-way tie with Wade Hustad and JTW for P17 in the championship standing. So if Charlie Whitner or JTW can come away here with a podium at Talladega, that would increase their, likelihood to be in contention for this season 49 championship by tenfold. So as we're coming down to the last lap, it is going to be Charlie Whitner, I believe, who's going to get across the start-finish line first to give us the white flag. No. It's Chad Simpson, final lap.
Final lap, and Andrew Schulte needs to find a little speed in that 81 machine to see if he's going to be able to maintain his top 5 positions here as they get that huge run coming down the backstretch, coming into the final corner. And just remember, at Talladega, the start-finish line isn't where you think it will be. It'll be clear at the end as they slide down in front. Charlie Widener and Justin Michael are going to slow down that inside line. Michael Melfeld Jr. and Andrew Schulte in the high line. So we'll see what happens when they come around this final corner. Chad Simpson jumps to the high line. Michael Melfeld Jr. tries to make some moves, but Coming to the finish line, it is Charlie Wagner, Justin Michael, Chad Simpson, Lyle Swearingen.
Wow, what a day for Charlie Widner. Absolutely killing it here at Talladega. What a victory for him. That is one that he is going to remember for a while, and that is one that he so desperately needed here in round 5 of season 49 of the WSRL.
Yeah, definitely. Justin Michael comes up one position short. I mean, he already has 2 wins, but one position short to make it 3 wins out of 5 races here in the WSRL.
Yeah, and JTW up there with the top 5. He is also, like I said, in a tie for P17 in the championship standings right now. So very good result from him. And unfortunately for Andrew Schulte, it is the end of his top 5 streak here in the WSRL.
But he's still 100% top 10s.
That is true. Now we're just got to talk about the top 10 streak for him.
Harley's just burning it down here.
Yeah, I mean, well deserved. Well deserved. He ran a great race.
Here. Let these guys get up here to the booth here. Yeah. I will let you talk to Chad Simpson, the 3rd place finisher.
Chad, Mac up here in the booth, man. How are you doing tonight? Chad? Uh-oh. Chad, Mac up in the booth. Sorry. All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you now.
Oh, okay, nice. Well, you drove a fantastic race tonight here, man. Did pit strategy play any part in, your grand scheme of things?
I don't think so. There were points where fuel was looking like it was going to be close, and we were talking about when we needed to go and when we needed to save and what lap we needed to pit on. But at the end, it kind of went out the window, and it was really just go.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looked like that. You guys had tallied up a large sum of pit stops across this entire race. But, looking on to next week, you've got Chicagoland in the trucks. Is that a track that you're going to be, as confident and maybe as aggressive on as you were here tonight at Talladega?
Well, you can't be as aggressive anywhere else than Talladega. It should be okay. I mean, Vegas-like, so maybe a decent race. I don't know. I've had good races at Chicago, but that was a long time ago. I haven't been that great recently, so I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is the only thing that you can do sometimes in this sim, but, you raced P3 here tonight. You did a wonderful job. Who would you like to thank for tonight's performance?
I have to thank Lyle for pushing me. He pushed a little too hard, a little too early, and ran out of steam at the end with the water temp. But he pushed me up to P3. People at FBR Sim Rig Accessories Creation Studio. I got it right again. Smart. Sim Motion VRS. FBR Motorsports, Satellite Racing, Radness, Ellis Engineering, the fan club. I hear them out there watching. Sim Racers Edge. Maybe one day we can come back. That'd be great. The admins here, everybody doing the broadcast, everybody in the league. It was a good one.
Yeah, well, a good one indeed. I'm going to let you enjoy your night, and maybe we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys.
That was third place finisher. Hey, Justin, Mike up in the booth. How's it going, man?
Good. How are you, sir?
Well, not too bad. Hey, heck of a run. Had a heck of a pit strategy there to get you and Charlie and Andrew and looks like Michael Melfeld up towards the front there at the end. Were you guys always kind of have that strategy in the back of your mind as you were racing through tonight?
Yeah. So me and Andrew, we're on Bandit Motorsports, and we do a lot of super speedway racing, and we have a lot of good strategy for different situations. So, we had Michael and Charlie in there with us too. We were kind of coaching them, giving them some tips and stuff throughout the whole race, and pit stop tips and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, we kind of knew what we were going to do there the last half of the race, and it kind of just fell in our lap the way the pit stops work. So, but definitely great job to Charlie. I mean, he well-deserved win on his part. And, Michael and Andrew ran great as well. We really nailed that last pit stop, and I think that's what really got us out front.
Yeah, it definitely looked like you guys came about 10 laps before, well, not 10, but I want to say maybe it was about 10 before I thought everybody else was going to try and do it because you guys just elected to jump in and do that short pit strategy. You guys had those 4 trucks working good together. When you guys saw the FBR group coming up, were you guys worried, or did you kind of have a plan for kind of slowing down the run a little bit?
Well, when they got within 2 seconds of us, they got full draft on us, and that was my fault, I think, for letting them get it that close. I wasn't pushing enough, trying to keep my engine cool. So I'll take blame on that for even letting them catch us. I think if I wouldn't have did that, they might not have even caught us. But yeah, as soon as they got to us, I knew we were going to shoot to the middle and let them have the low side. I mean, they could have took the high side if they want, but that's not the best place to be here up against the wall. So, but yeah, I mean, we played out how we figured it would.
Definitely. Well, anybody want to thank before we let you go here?
To everybody out there watching, hopefully that was a good show. I was on sorry, lost my train of thought. I was on Twitch tonight, Floorboard Deep, and so you can definitely go back and watch some of the stuff that we were doing. And Charlie for a great win there. Michael and Andrew, we always run really good together. So hopefully we'll come out next week, which I don't even know where we're racing at next week, but we'll be there. Hopefully we run that Chicago. I like that track, so hopefully we'll run pretty good.
All right, we'll let you go, Justin, and congrats again on your P2 finish.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Well, Mac, I will let you talk to our race winner.
Charlie, Mac up in the booth, man. How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling pretty good after that one.
Yeah, so, unfortunately hasn't been the greatest start of the season for you. But tonight, you get it done here at Talladega. You burnt it down as soon as you could on the cooldown lap. What was your thought heading across that start-finish line, preparing for the last lap of the race?
Well, I got a lot of thanks when it comes to the people I was drafting with, Justin, Michael, Andrew Schulte, Michael Milfeld. We were strategizing that whole race just to make that last lap possible. We're just trying to make sure we keep our trucks in the best place possible to make sure we're the ones coming out of 4 in the lead. And it just happened to work out. I didn't breathe for the last couple laps. I got a little lightheaded.
Well, I have no doubt about that, but you're heading to Chicagoland next week. You're staying in the trucks. How do you feel about that track? Do you think you can keep the momentum?
Honestly, yeah. Especially with the trucks, Chicagoland's a very good track for me. I've had a pretty rough start to this season. this track, as long as I can stay clean. I normally finish up front. I was just hoping for a good finish to change my luck. I didn't expect to win, but I'm not going to complain. Chicagoland though, I love that track, and I should, as long as I can keep my nose clean, and I've been screwing myself with the qualifying laps lately. So if I can get a good qualifying lap, good track position, I should be okay there.
Yeah, well, okay is definitely good for you, considering okay was a win tonight here at Talladega, but you already passed some thanks around to the drivers that you were in a draft kind of pool with. But anybody else that you would like to thank for tonight's performance?
Of course, besides my drafting partners, I'm always appreciative of the people who set this thing up, who pay for the server time, and I'm also thankful for the guys in the broadcast booth making this happen.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you guys putting on one heck of a show for us every single Tuesday night here at the WSRL, but I don't want to hold you. I'm going to let you go. Enjoy your night. Your race winner, Charlie Widner.
There you have it. Here, if we can grid them up. There we go. The race results: Charlie Widner wins the race. Justin Michael in second. Chad Simpson third. Lyle Swearingen in fourth. Justin T. Wilkinson back to fifth. Kyle McCartney, Michael Melfelt Jr., Bob Beltrami, Christian Bishop, and Andrew Schulte round out that top 10. Going back to P11, you got Brian Barnes, Mike Fisher, Chris Samard, Ryan Steele, Dan Brazington, Wayne Hutchinson, Jeff Schmeier, Jeff Hollinsworth. 19th is Benjamin Wirt and Austin Williams round out that top 20.
Yeah, and then, you got to show love to the back of the grid as well. Going down from P21 on is Julian Ritchie, Angelo Espo, Spencer Hanneman, Dennis Fuson, Carl Burke, Paul Crumray, Barry Phil, Keith Kellman, Ross Rawlings, David Wood, Alan Bergen, Dustin Burns, Charles Woods, Paul Hoffman, Butch Davis, Fred Williams, Anthony Rayner, Chad Stearns, Daniel Williams, Dan Stussy, I'm not sure how to say that, I apologize, and then William Fletcher in P41.
41 drivers took on Talladega here in the Western States Racing League. Mac, we wound up seeing lots of action, just like we do every Tuesday night. Glad I was able to make it here and get the broadcast started for everyone to see. What are your thoughts, closing thoughts before we wrap the show up?
Closing thoughts, I'm just really impressed with how these guys were able to maintain the 3-wide runs, beginning, middle, and late race. You don't see that a lot. You see it a lot in the Coke series, the Big Dog Professional League, but these guys handled it just as well, if not better, in my opinion. So, like I said, this is the pinnacle for amateur iRacing, league racing here. These guys are so talented, and they give us just an amazing show week after week.
They definitely do that. With that being said, from all the drivers at the Western States Racing League and all of us here at Sim Racing Media, you guys all have a good night, and we will see you next time here when the Western States Racing League is at Chicagoland. Good night, everybody.